everyone. Welcome to B10 Official Podcast. If you are unfamiliar with the show, my name's Gabe Carey. I host B10 Official Podcast. B10 stands for Baloney Technology and Entertainment News. I know that's a lot to take in right now, but it is a great week to be a video game and technology journalist. So, where to begin? There's a lot to talk about this week. This, or as many of you know, this week's podcast is themed around the SimCity server failure, and that's mostly what we're going to be talking about. But first, I want to discuss a few minor news details. Let's begin. Oh yeah, and also if you enjoyed the intro music, that is from BioShock Infinite, behind the scenes. I don't know, it's a video I got from IGN, so check it out on YouTube or at IGN.com. And it's a great looking behind the scenes soundtrack release, so that looks cool. If you didn't already know this, it is the voice actors behind Booker and Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite, and they are Booker's voice actor Troy Baker is on the guitar, acoustic guitar, and Elizabeth's voice actress is singing. So yeah, interesting. It looks really great. By the way, today's date is 18 days until BioShock Infinite. That's how I've been measuring time for the last month. So yeah, I'm really thrilled for that. Obviously. The first thing I want to talk about is, if you're new to the show, you're going to be completely confused, but hang in there, and you'll get a little dose of what the show is like. Speaking of doses, this is my first major announcement that in about a week and a half, we'll be splitting up into two different podcasts. This podcast, B10, will be strictly technology news, while my new podcast that I'm going to start working on is going to be called Dose of D-Pad. That's why I said speaking of doses. Get it? It's a gaming podcast. I intend to include a little more humor in the gaming podcast to fit the audience a little better, and also I would like to have some special guests on the show as some sort of two-person discussion, I suppose, rather than just me talking about technology for about a half hour. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So yeah, now let's get to the real news. Oz the Great and Powerful holds a Rotten Tomatoes score of 60% and a Metacritic score of 44. If this affects your viewing of Oz the Great and Powerful at all, then so be it, but I have not yet to see the movie yet. I believe I'm actually going tonight, so I may put up a review or something tomorrow morning of the movie, which would be at the same time as this podcast's release. So yeah, you don't have to wait for the review any longer after listening to this podcast. Yeah, so haven't seen it yet, so I can't judge it. Asus, or Asus, I'm not really sure the pronunciation of it, ASUS, will release the Transformer. Another word I cannot pronounce is IO? AIO. Transformer AIO. I believe it's IO. Reminds me of II from Super Monkey Ball. But Asus will release the Transformer IO in the second quarter of 2013, which will consist of a detachable touchscreen desktop display that doubles as a tablet. Not sure how useful this will be for a lot of you, but I'm going to go into some detail with this because I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm moving the mic, by the way. If it's starting to sound weird, then that's why. Yeah. The Transformer IO will feature customizable processor configurations, so your choice of i3, i5, or i7 processors with higher price range, respectively, to each type of processor. So they're going Intel. Memory configurations range from 4 to 8 gigabytes. That's RAM configurations, by the way. Memory can often be confused with storage space, although they're two completely different things. The GPU is going to be handled by a 2 gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce GT730M GPU, which is actually really great. That's better than my laptop's GPU. I guess it must be. It's $1,300. And storage is available up to 2 terabyte SATA drives. And it will run in Windows 8 desktop mode, and if you remove the display from the desktop, I suppose, then you can change the operating system to Android, which is Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, which is like the interesting catch to this tablet PC thing. It's an 18-inch screen, pretty big for a tablet, pretty small for a desktop. It's somewhere in an awkward middle stage, but I think it's a really cool device. I don't think it'll sell well, but I mean, neither do any other specific desktop models other than the MacBooks. Or not MacBook, the regular Macs. Don't get me confused, people, even though you're not talking at all. And and the processor switch when you remove it from the desktop. I don't know why that is a thing, but they do. They switch to a Tegra 3 quad-core processor. So then it's more on the scale of a Nexus 7 when you remove it from the desktop. So that seems kind of pointless to me, but so be it. I guess they don't want to like completely kill your battery with that excellent GPU there. As a standalone tablet, it features 2 gigabytes of RAM, so it's twice the amount of the Nexus 7 and the same amount of RAM as the Galaxy S3 and other comparable devices. And I think the same as the Nexus 10, 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of flash storage. That's up there. I mean, it's cheaper than buying a 32 gigabyte Vita memory card, I suppose. You can also use the device as a remote desktop, which links it back with the PC station. So you can still control your computer from this tablet device, from within your house, it seems. I think it's an interesting device. I mean, you should all check out the commercial. It's the Asus Transformer AIO, and it will be available this second quarter of 2013 for $1,299. It's pretty expensive, but I mean, it's a lot cheaper than a lot of other things you could buy alternatively. Specifically Apple products, I suppose. Also higher end PCs as well. I don't want to be biased here. Next, this news is actually quite interesting. The PlayStation Vita sales are skyrocketing in Japan. The week before the price cut, the PS Vita sold 11 units. It seems like that though. 11,000 units. This week, the PS Vita has sold 44,000 units. That's 4 times the number of units Sony sold in the week prior, for those of you with absolutely no mathematical ability. The Wi-Fi version of the PS Vita is also now the same price as the 3G and Wi-Fi version of the Vita. To me, that doesn't make sense. Why would they make the 3G Wi-Fi version of the Vita the exact same price as the Wi-Fi? I don't know. I mean, who is going to choose the Wi-Fi at that point when the 3G and Wi-Fi is the same price? Even if you don't use the 3G, even if you don't want to pay that monthly fee, you don't have to, because I got the 3G version of the Vita just because it wasn't that much more. And I haven't used 3G since. I had like a free month or something of 3G, and I never used it after that. I hardly used it within that month because there's not really a point to it with the existence of smartphones. But just say you're going out there and you don't have a smartphone, I guess maybe you want to add 3G to your Vita. I don't know. It's the same price as adding a data plan to your phone, so at that point I don't really see the purpose of the 3G version of the Vita anyway. Unless you want to play 3G games on the go, which would be really slow. Hold on. Sorry about that, and the reason I didn't cut any of that out was because I want to keep this show as real as I can. Real talk. As I was saying before, the PlayStation, I don't see the purpose of playing Vita games on the go with 3G, as the speeds would be slow. You'd run over your data plan really quickly. So it's probably not the best idea unless you just want to do like social networking on the go or something like that. And the Facebook app is not even very good on the Vita. But that's another story for another day. Yeah, but if you're in Japan and you are going to buy a Vita, you might as well buy the 3G and Wi-Fi version. There's not really a point of just buying the Wi-Fi only version if it's the same price and you don't have to pay a data plan anyway. And hopefully they bring this price drop over to America after this crazy skyrocket in unit sales. I believe that's a very good improvement. Hopefully it continues to improve in the number of sales. Make it $199, Sony. Make it $199. It's the only way you're going to sell systems. Sonic Dash is now available on all current iOS devices. I've seen from various accounts that the game will be coming to Android, confirmed via Sega's official site. Although Sega's acknowledgement of Sonic Dash on the Android platform has since been removed from their listing. Bring it to Android, Sega. Android is the largest smartphone market right now. I do not see any reason why Sega should release exclusively on iOS devices. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why anyone would release exclusively on iOS devices except for Apple themselves. Android is the largest smartphone market right now, and I think a lot of game developers fail to see that. I think a lot of game developers for mobile fail to see many things anyway. Like how to make good games. I don't understand why we can't have console-like games on our mobile platforms. I know touchscreens are limited and all that, but it seems like a good developer could actually see past those faults, those flaws. I don't understand that, but I don't see why SimCity can't come to mobile. Although SimCity has bigger issues right now. SimCity'd be cool on mobile. Yeah, speaking of SimCity, their server failure and hold on, I gotta find out something real quick. Yeah, SimCity has not been available for most people due to server failure. Hold on. And hold on. Yeah, SimCity has launched a few days ago and has not been able to connect for a lot of people, which is kind of ironic because this was all a test by EA to see if their always online DRM would work. And yeah, I think they just got their answer that no, don't do that. Don't have a game that requires the internet to play. That doesn't make sense. And I hope that future console developers, I'm looking at you, Microsoft, even though you haven't announced anything yet. I hope you do soon, and I hope it isn't always online, because that is not the way to go. No. I think EA would agree with you at this point. That is not the way to go. Another ironic piece of this information is that they made this always online probably to fight piracy, and they didn't want people to illegally get their hands on this game, and now no one would get their hands on this game because people are getting it refunded, and actually EA has paused all SimCity marketing, so they're not gonna sell before. Like, if it wasn't always online, they were gonna sell and also have people downloading, but now they're gonna have no one doing anything. No one. This is bad marketing, EA. Why would you do this? Everyone already hates you. Why would you release an always online game to fight piracy? That's ridiculous. The thought of it is crazy. The thought of people changing up their games and services just to fight piracy is ridiculous anyway, because the people that pirate games and movies and music and all this and software and whatever else you can pirate, the people that do that would not otherwise buy the game. The reason they're pirating is because they don't have the money to buy it. They're resorting to that. most people would otherwise buy the game. It's easier if they have the money, but they don't have the money. How about instead of using an always online service to fight piracy, how about lowering the prices a little bit? I think you'd sell a lot more if SimCity was maybe $30 instead of $60. Why $60 games? You'd have a much larger market with $30 SimCity. It only makes sense. It's actually all my news, which is strange, and that's all I really had to talk about. Yeah, 20 minutes in, and it's probably gonna end the show in a few seconds / minutes. I'll have the logo up for I'll have some kind of teaser and logo thing up for Dose of D-Pad shortly, which is again my new gaming channel expanding from B10 and will be exclusively for console gaming, while B10 Baloney Technology and Entertainment News official podcast will only include PC gaming and other technology news. And haven't decided what I'm doing with the entertainment aspect, but I will definitely clarify this in the next B10 episode. We still have another episode after this anyway that still consists of everything this one did, so don't worry, you won't be confused. See y'all's later.